We just went past the 1-year anniversary of the MG Hector launching in India. A lot has changed since then. The market continued its journey southwards, but the Hector still sold 24,220 units till the end of June 2020. MG launched its second car, the ZS EV, in India, and then also dazzled consumers with an awesome display at the Auto Expo. And yes, it is now dealing with the COVID crisis like everyone else, as also the recent backlash against the country of its parent company, China's SAIC.
But even before all of that could happen, even before the Hector made its official debut or got its market launch here in India, we always knew there was going to be a second model on the Hector model line. At the time, we called it the 7-seater. Officially, it's known as the Hector Plus.
Yes, it too made its public debut at the Auto Expo and has created some anticipation since. The car was to have launched in April, but that was all delayed thanks to the coronavirus pandemic and its resultant and ongoing crisis, ironically also caused by the same aforementioned country. But oh well.
Now, we showed you this car at the Auto Expo, and at the time you got a chance to see what it looks like, and there are some very obvious differences in terms of especially the face of the Plus versus the Hector. The big difference, that front grille. I mean, this is completely finished in black, looks very classy, a little bit more upmarket. That one's got a whole lot of chrome on it. You've also got the very different signature to the DRL, the daytime running lights. This is a wider strip and it's got two elements down below. It's not just that strip. On the Hector, you see that it's just the horizontal strip. It's a lot slimmer. The headlamp housing also extremely different, and again gives the car its own very distinct personality. Straight away looks very different to the Hector, as does the bumper. This is a lot chunkier and meatier, so you can tell from the face straight away that there is something different or new about this car.
More recently, CarAndBike was the first one to tell you about this new color, exclusive to the Hector Plus. It is called Starry Sky Blue and will be the official launch color for this variant.
Now, the Hector Plus is 65 millimeters longer than the regular Hector. Doesn't sound like a lot, because it's not. And I must tell you, another surprise maybe for you, the wheelbase, 2750 mm on both cars. It's identical, which means that it's really just the overhangs where on the bumpers especially, that you get the little bit of the extra length. And so it's not really a stretched version then of the regular Hector. In a way, that's not a bad thing, because it means that it doesn't really compromise too much on the drive dynamics by stretching the car. But yeah, it's a bit of a surprise, because with the 3 rows, you'd expect it to be a lot longer, but it's not. Now, I remember when this car came out, there was a lot of criticism. I myself was one of those people who said it should have had bigger wheels to occupy those huge wheel arches. 17 inches, they do look a tad small on this. So again, on the Plus, it may have been a plus to have 18 inches, dare I say 19 inches, because not just from a styling perspective, but also to create that difference. It would have made this car look a little bigger, a little more robust, and really driven home the point about being Plus. Bit of a miss.
With the same wheels and wheelbase as well as suspension, does it mean the Hector Plus will still feel the same on the road as its sibling? Hello MG.
Hi, how can I help?
Reduce fan speed.
Decreasing fan speed.
Still works.
So the Hector Plus will go up against the likes of the XUV 500, the upcoming Gravitas from Tata Motors, no doubt. But interestingly, MG is pitching it slightly differently. It's actually taking it up against the Innova Krista. Surprising? Yeah, maybe. But the point there is that even though that's an MPV and not an SUV like this one claims to be, the pitch is simple. Better value, more plush, and still the comfort of having those 3 rows, the captain's seat in the second row, and all of that. And so that could be an interesting argument. Nobody's tried that before. You know, offering the SUV swag with the 3 rows and better value than the Innova Krista. Might be interesting to see how that plays out. So what can go wrong for MG? Well, quite simply right now, the backlash against China. There is a whole lot riding on where that ends up, both from an official or government or policy perspective. I mean, you've already got news of GWM's investment getting held up in Maharashtra. And then you've got the public sentiment. We don't know where that's going to end up. As far as we're concerned, we'll stay out of the politics and only bring you the pure car perspective, because that's what we're here for, right?
And well, the truth is simple. If someone is affected by all that, they won't consider the MG brand altogether, and not then get into whether they would buy this over an Innova. So let me tell you about the car itself and how it differs from the Hector on the road.
So mechanically, there's nothing different between these two cars. I mean, the entire setup remains the same. It's the same suspension, the same powertrains, and yet, despite having the same wheelbase, which means it doesn't really affect drive dynamics that much, the same kind of wheels, this car feels plusher. Now, there's 2 reasons for that. One is that, of course, this is the Plus. You want it to have a slightly more luxurious plush feel, and so the suspension tuning, I suspect, has been swayed towards that. The other thing is, remember, there was a lot of feedback that MG got at the time when the Hector first came to the market last year about the ride quality not being great, not being good enough for Indian conditions, and I think some of that feedback has gone right back into the vehicle. And so what we're seeing now with the newer cars is that it's a lot more supple. Of course, the Fiat-derived diesel powertrain and the manual 6-speed gearbox, that combo to me has always been the pick of the pack. And so from that perspective, I think the car does quite well.
A reminder of the powertrain options on the Hector family. So the 5 and the 6-seater, that's the Hector and the Hector Plus, share the same tech specs exactly, of course. Premium looks, decent road presence, and the upside of not having been stretched is it's still easy to drive. Like the Hector, the car gets front and rear disc brakes. Also like it, the car has traction control, electronic brake force distribution or EBD, anti-lock brakes or ABS, a tire pressure monitoring system, dual airbags, ISOFIX child seat anchors, and an electronic parking brake, electronic stability control or ESC, and hill hold control as standard. The top spec also gets a 360 camera view and 6 airbags. On the inside, the car's upper specs get the large iSmart touchscreen interface and connected car capabilities powered by its internet-enabled embedded SIM. And then there's the virtual assistant voice commands. The cabin appears plush and the dash is dual tone with a padded faux leather element added onto it. This makes the car look more high-end than the Hector and also different from it. The second row with its captain seats is comfy, but what about that all-important third row?
So the all-important third row. Well, I'll tell you what, as all third rows go, this one isn't great either. I mean, none of them really are. Problems with the seat height, the lack of under-thigh support, the fact that my knees are pointing skywards, and of course it's a little bit cramped. So, all right for little kids, and frankly even for adults for very short distances, very short, it'll be all right. But the upside that you don't really have a very bouncy feel back here, so that's good. The ride comfort back here is better than I thought it would be. And then you've got the few little things that have been thrown in, like the cup holders, the USB charging point back here, and also your own little fan control back here for the vents in the third row. So that's dedicated to the third row. You can turn them on and turn up the fan or turn it down, which gives you a much better sense of comfort and airiness back here. That's nicely done.
The MG Hector Plus has 8 variants, unlike the Hector that has 11. Prices are approximately 60,000 rupees higher across most of those variants. The Plus is not available in the entry or mid variants of the mild hybrid petrol. The diesel is available across all 4 variants though. The company has said that these prices that you see are introductory and will go up in a month by about 50,000 rupees. MG will not have it easy in the coming days, especially if the government continues to put pressure on imports from China. But that being said, the company's prospects remain robust as the brand does have some aggressive plans in the pipeline. For now, the Hector Plus is all set to take on the Toyota Innova Krista, Mahindra XUV 500 and the Tata Gravitas when it arrives.